The last few pennies. Sarah felt the familiar, cold knot of anxiety tighten in her chest as the cashier scanned the last item, a small jar of baby food. Her 3-month-old son Leo squirmed lightly in her arms, his blue eyes wide and solemn, mirroring her own unease. "That'll be £12.45. Please," the cashier said brightly. Sarah swallowed, her hand already deep in her coat pocket. She pulled out a few crumpled notes and a scattering of coins. She'd done the mental math a dozen times in the aisles, a frantic calculation that was becoming a terrifying habit. "Wait, I don't think I have enough," she whispered, her cheeks flushing hot. She placed £12.30 on the counter, a £10 note, a £2 coin, and a few small silvers. 15 pence short. A wave of exhaustion washed over her. Just 15 pence. It was the last of the food and the last of her money until Friday, 3 long days away. The thought of having to put the essentials back in front of everyone, especially Leo, felt like a public failure. Behind her, a sharply dressed manabler of tailored suit, an expensive. Colin cleared his throat. James had been scrolling through his phone, a frown already fixed on his face, likely annoyed at the delay. He was an investment banker, perpetually stressed and utterly out of touch with the world of pennies and budgets. He looked up from his phone, his expression shifting from irritation to a complicated mix of shock and confusion as he saw the small pile of coins and Sarah's tearful face. He finally registered the tiny, perfect baby in her arms. "Is everything all right?" James asked, his voice stiff. He wasn't asking her. He was asking the cashier, looking for a quick resolution to the inconvenience. The cashier, a young man who had clearly seen this scenario before, gestured subtly to the few remaining coins. "Just a bit short, sir." James hesitated. He was holding his phone, a device that cost more than her entire week's grocery budget. He had a wallet stuffed with plastic, and yet an internal switch flipped. He felt a sudden, crushing awareness of the disconnect between his world and hers, an awareness that made him deeply uncomfortable. He fumbled in his own trouser pocket, pulling out a handful of loose change he hadn't known was there. £1.10. He dropped it onto the counter. "Just take it from that," he mumbled, not meeting Sarah's eyes. He didn't want the gratitude. He just wanted the feeling of discomfort to end. A sob hitched in Sarah's throat, but she swallowed it down. "Thank you," she managed, a raw, heartfelt whisper. "Thank you so much." James simply nodded curtly, already turning to look back at his phone, trying to erase the moment. The cashier quickly processed the payment, bagging the items. As Sarah gathered her bag and her baby, she looked back at the retreating figure of the man in the suit. It wasn't pity she saw, but a brief, startling flash of humanity. James simply nodded curtly, already turning to look back at his phone, trying to erase the moment. The cashier quickly processed the payment, bagging the items. As Sarah gathered her bag and her baby, she looked back at the retreating figure of the man in the suit. It wasn't pity she saw, but a brief, startling flash of humanity.